Welcome to Rattlesnake Trail as we work our way to the Crags Hotel. I'm just getting over some kind of bug, so this climb is hitting harder than it should. I probably look and sound like I'm fighting for my life, but this is the kind of struggle that reminds me why I'm out here. Every step is earned, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. These canyon walls didn't happen overnight. They're the product of hundreds of millions of years of rock and movement. About 300 million years ago, the ancient ancestral Rocky Mountains eroded, sending thick layers of sand and pebble downstream. Those sediments eventually became the Fountain Formation sandstone, the red cliffs you see around Crags Hotel and throughout the canyon today. Freeze-thaw cycles, gravity, and time slowly pry these cliffs apart, sending rock down into the creek below. It would be incredible to see one happen, but only from a very, very, very safe distance, since nature doesn't announce when it decides to rearrange the landscape. Weather behaves differently in a canyon like this. Cold air settles low, warm air climbs the walls, and wind can funnel through with surprising force. Storms arrive fast, shadows linger longer, and temperatures can change in minutes depending on the sun and the stone. All of that water, when it happens, has to go somewhere, feeding the seasonal stream at the bottom of this valley, quiet most of the year, and suddenly alive when the weather decides it's time to move again. This canyon has a cool collection of plants, grasses and shrubs on the rim, and Douglas fir, moss, and ferns tucked near the creek. I was not expecting a bridge. On the top of the canyon sits Crags Hotel, a once luxurious retreat built in 1908 for visitors escaping the city for mountain views and fresh air. The hotel was constructed by A.D. Stencil, operating under the name the Crags Mountain Resort Company. The Crags Hotel was the brainchild of Adolph D. Stencil, who in 1908 purchased this parcel high above Eldorado Canyon. The hotel wasn't just a simple lodge. It included furnished cabins and even tent rentals, and advertising at the time boldly claimed guests could live at Crags Mountain Resort, as cheap as in Denver, and enjoy life close to nature. And here we see one of my favorite plants, yucca. It was one of the most useful plants in the American West, a true survival staple. Its leaves were stripped into strong fibers, twisted into rope, sandals, nets, and cordage used for hunting, travel, and shelter. The roots contain natural soaps, which lather in water, making yucca an effective soap and shampoo used for washing hair, skin, and even animal hides. Certain flowers, fruits, and stalks were also eaten, usually roasted or boiled, providing nutrition in dry landscapes where food was scarce. Even the sharp leaf tips served a purpose, used as needles, awls, and simple tools. Yucca wasn't just a plant, it was an entire toolkit growing out of the ground. Look, I can see my house from here. Not really. Before the Crags Hotel stood here, this rugged landscape was shaped by centuries of human presence. Native peoples, including the Ute and Arapaho, traveled these trails hunting, trading, and living seasonally in the area. Later, miners and settlers arrived in search of gold and timber, carving paths and building small homesteads. A very cool old juniper that's done really well for itself. Crags Hotel was designed to be easily reached yet feel remote. Patrons could arrive by 3 different ways: riding up from the canyon floor on a gravity-powered incline railway, driving up the Rattlesnake Gulch Wagon Road, or coming by train along the nearby Moffett Road. For some reason, as I hiked this trail, I kept thinking about a story I know about the nearby Grand Lake. Long before it was called Grand Lake, this place was known to the Ute as Spirit Lake. According to recorded oral history, a surprise attack once struck a Ute camp along the shore. To protect them, women and children were placed on makeshift rafts and pushed toward the center of the lake. As the story goes, a sudden mountain storm rose without warning. Wind and waves overturned the rafts, and many were lost to the water. Afterward, the Ute avoided the lake, believing the spirits of those who drowned still lingered in the mist that rises here at dawn. I have no idea why this story was stuck in my head, and even at the summit, I looked to the northwest and couldn't even guess where that lake was, but random stuff does get stuck in my head regularly. Crags Hotel was marketed as an oasis and natural retreat from the hustle and bustle of downtown Denver. And from up here, I can believe it, especially when I catch glimpses of Denver through the valley. Almost there. And here we are, the remains of Crags Hotel, a site of rest and relaxation. Though there isn't much here anymore, we can see what used to stand at the top of this mountain. Let's take a look around and see what ruins still remain. Here we're walking up through the main courtyard, and on our right would have been the clubhouse for the Denver Auto Club. Here stood an elegant yet simple fountain, quite the marvel on the top of a mountain in the 1900s. Here we can see all that's left of the kitchen fireplace of the main hotel. Some say this could have been the start of the fire that burned the resort down in 1912. This is the remains of the main fireplace for visitors, and that really is all that remains of the Crags Hotel, which burnt down in 1912. It's reported that the flames could be seen from miles around, and with the hotel in financial troubles, the source of the fire remains a mystery to this day. Unfortunately, the ruins at Crags Hotel didn't amount to much, but as beautiful as this hike was, it was still worth it. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you on the next adventure here on the Lost Fjord.